Hi everyone, my name is Dimitri. Welcome back to DimitriTube. Bachelor in Paradise, Night 7. Let's talk about it. As always, if you're enjoying my videos, please go ahead and pound that like button, pound that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell. I'm a growing YouTuber and like subscribes really help me out. So most of this review is going to talk about the Jeremy, Bailey, and Bryan situation, but let me talk about a couple things before we dive into that. So I really just do not understand Leia. So at the top of the episode, she says, I'm here for genuine reasons and to find someone. In general, now that they've kind of turned this into a game show, this show and this episode particularly are just very confusing to me. It just doesn't seem like ABC has a clear-cut goal for this show, because throughout Bachelor history, there's been this idea of like, are you here for the right reasons? So they want people who are here for love, not people here for fame or like social media clout. But now that money is on the line and this is part of the game, to me, to still use that phrase, are you here for the right reasons, is so weird. Like, I just don't understand why you can't be there for love and money. Like, why do those two things need to be mutually exclusive? And not only that, this puts contestants like Jonathan in a bind. Jonathan came here for love and wants love, but nobody else is coming to paradise. And yet he's still here. But he also has a chance at $500,000. So, does that make sense? None of this, like, long story short, ABC does not seem to have a clear-cut goal with this show. So to say someone's not here for the right reasons is weird, because yes, this is supposed to be a dating show, but also ABC put $500K on the table. So what is the goal supposed to be? And then fast forward in the episode, Leia and Jonathan have a one-on-one. I'm not gonna dive super deep into this, but Leia was lying. She is not interested in Jonathan. And to make it worse, Leia says because Jonathan's not interested, he must be emotionally unavailable, which is a very wild conclusion to come to. Just because someone's not interested in you doesn't mean they're emotionally unavailable. But in Leia's defense, Jonathan does seem to be like putting on for the camera sometimes, so I'll give her that. Anyways, moving on. So at the beginning of the episode, all the contestants play this game called Secret Rendezvous. They answer various questions, and the people who get the most compatible answers wins. So Jonathan and Leia end up winning. And then not only that, if you get compatible answers with another contestant, you have an opportunity to secret rendezvous. So basically you can have a one-on-one with somebody else on the island. This challenge was so dumb because right from the jump, I knew nobody was gonna take the secret rendezvous. Everyone is closed off. No one is open to possibly dating someone else. So giving the opportunity was pointless. And of course, nobody took the opportunity. And again, this is why Love Island is winning and Bachelor is losing. I don't know what they do on Love Island, but the challenges are required, and the way it's set up, they like force people to like explore connections with other people. Whereas on this show, these people do not explore connections. They tend to tie it down on the first episode. Next, Kathy is very annoying. I need her to go home soon. Next, I can't prove it, but it almost seemed like production purposely gave Bailey and Bryan a win to have a possible rendezvous just so they could push that storyline forward. After that, Alex, Lexi, and Kat were all having a kiki, and this part was very important. Jonathan and Leia won the challenge, so they get to determine who goes home this week. But Alex, Lexi, and Kat were talking, and they thought it was like unexpected, almost like not fair that they won the challenge because they're not even a couple. Now, this conversation was so dumb because they were all agreeing that people should be eliminated based on connection. And this was so dumb to me because it's not necessarily Jonathan and Leia's fault that they didn't find a connection on this beach, and they didn't know it was going to turn into a game show. So to say they should be eliminated for that is pretty ridiculous. Next, if you made it this far in the video, please go ahead and pound that like button for the YouTube algorithm. And not only that, this part really made me start to not like Alex. Well, I didn't really care for Alex before, but now this episode is just getting worse. Alex will frequently just agree with people, and it's really not a good look because right now I don't think she really added much to the conversation, but she's agreeing with Kat and Lexi that Jonathan and Leia should be eliminated over connection. But like Alex and Andrew have only been together like what, 5 days? That like y'all barely have a connection either. So like that's really dumb. And in this part, Lexi's true colors are really starting to show. Like I said earlier in the season, I didn't think we were getting the full Lexi, and now we're starting to see her. Lexi Lexi is like, we're here to find love. And again, like I said earlier in the episode, are we here to find love or are we here to win some money? Like, production doesn't seem to know what the goal is, and the contestants don't seem to know what the goal is either. And Lexi is trying to eliminate people who don't have a connection, and all of it just does not make sense. Like, this episode was actually pretty confusing. And the reason why I got annoyed with Lexi in this is because if your connection is so strong and you've been here since day one, why are you losing to people who are friends who have been here for much less time? This show is slowly turning into Big Brother, and this is also a thing I didn't like about Love Island either. It was kind of turning into Big Brother as well. But Lexi is more so trying to create alliances and turn people against each other instead of maybe just getting to know her partner more and doing better in the challenges. Okay, enough on that. Now on to the Bailey, Bryan, and Jeremy drama. Okay, so in general, a lot of this episode was confusing, but long story short, Bryan tried to have a rendezvous with Bailey, and he talked to production and sent her a card, but the card said, I just want to chat. But Bailey did not want to take it because she was worried about how it would look. It would look bad for her to go on a rendezvous with Bryan. So two things are happening here. Okay, so the contestants do not trust production, like, which is understandable. Like, that's just the way reality TV goes. The contestants have trouble trusting production, and on top of that, they don't know how the edit's gonna go. So she's very weary to meet up with him because of that. But at the same time, we also need to push these storylines. So why did production set it up as like a rendezvous? Couldn't they have just set it up as like them just splitting a glass of wine near the pool or something? Like, that really made no sense to me. And then the card literally said, I just want to talk. So couldn't have Bailey just taken the card, gone? And like, if Jeremy asked, she could have just said, oh, like, someone just wanted to talk to me. Like, I just don't understand why we had to go in this crazy roundabout way. Moving on, Parisa and Bailey are roommates, and Parisa knows that Bailey got this card for a rendezvous, and Parisa is pressing her, who is this from? Who is this from? I want to know. Just tell me it's not Bryan. Just tell me it's not Bryan. And Bailey is like withholding the information, and because of that, Parisa deduces, oh, it is Bryan. Two things I want to talk about here. Parisa is annoying. She frequently has to make everything about her. Like, yes, I understand why she did this, but also, like, to me, Bailey is clearly struggling with something right now, and you're making this all about, oh, is Bryan cheating on me? Next, so Bryan and Bailey do not have the rendezvous. He does not get a chance to talk to her, but he does get a chance to talk to Parisa, and he admits he was gonna have a rendezvous with Bailey, but it was to tell her the information he knows, etc. So fast forward, Bryan finally gets an opportunity to Bailey. He spills all the tea and lets her know everything. And we also find out half the contestants on the beach already knew the information. So Bailey starts crying. She is hurt. Like, I mean, anyone would be hurt by this information, but this was so tough to watch. Like, actually, the rest of the episode was pretty tough to watch just because it was so hard to watch Bailey getting hurt. And also, the rest of the episode was like kind of a wild goose chase to find out how this information came out, and that was just annoying to watch as well. And while she was talking to Bryan, Bailey at one point says, I don't give a about 500K. And like, are these people who come on this show, like, are they rich, or maybe they just don't live in an expensive city like I do? Because I would very much care about the money. So now Paradise is in absolute shambles. Everyone is trying to figure out the tea. And I don't know if you notice this, everyone is like trying to figure out what is going down, but like the Bailey Jeremy storyline is the only thing happening. Like, literally nobody else has anything going on in this beach. So everyone is just like gossiping, trying to figure out what's going on with them. And it's just like, wow, we really have no storylines. So Bailey is crying and upset. She wakes up Jeremy and tries to get to the bottom of things. And this part was confusing to me because I thought it was like a cocktail party going on, but Jeremy was sleeping and was allowed to be in bed. And then there's another contestant, what's his name? Sean? And Sean was also in bed as well. So all of this just seemed very poorly planned on behalf of production. And I don't know if y'all caught this, but at one point, Alex and Bailey were having a one-on-one, and Alex was trying to help Bailey feel better about the situation. And Bailey asked her if she knew about this, and Alex had to like hold her tongue for a second, but she admitted she knew the information. And that made Alex look so horrible, because it's like Alex had an opportunity to tell her the information, but she didn't. She waited till Bryan Bryan told her, and now Bryan got her looking stupid. Alex is allegedly trying to be a friend now after things hit the fan, but she should have been a friend and told her the info versus like waiting for Bryan to say something. And not only that, Bailey was even more upset that, so many people already knew the information but her, which is probably what made it even worse. So fast forward to the next morning, Bailey is wearing a little too much blush, but we'll let that go. And she has a one-on-one with Jeremy, and Jeremy comes clean about everything. And for some reason, there was another rumor that Jeremy was gonna propose to Susie on site. Like I don't even know where that rumor came from. Anyways, Jeremy comes clean with everything and Bailey forgives him. But when they're on their way back from the beach, Bailey protects Bryan. And I think I forgot exactly what she says, but she made it clear that she did not get the information from Bryan. Like, I forgot how she got the information, or maybe she said she got it from one of the girls. I don't know. But she clearly protected Bryan in that moment. But unfortunately, now the rest of Paradise turns into a wild goose chase of like, who said what, who blabbed, etc., etc. After that, we move on to the cocktail party and we get an opportunity to see how horrible this group of contestants is. Like, literally, this show has now turned into Big Brother. And sorry, earlier I said Jonathan and Leia get to pick who leaves the beach. No, it's like a cast vote of who gets to leave, but Jonathan and Leia have immunity. Now at this point, a lot of the contestants on the beach know that Bryan blabbed the info, and because of that, a lot of people want to eliminate Bryan because he told this info, and a lot of people felt like it was not his place to tell this info. Let's unpack this. This cast is so terrible this season, and not all of them, but a lot of them are just terrible human beings. So Jeremy says he shouldn't have given Bailey his rose, he should have given it to Susie, and then in front of production, he tries to call Susie and get her back on the show, saying he made a wrong choice. I will admit, I do think Bryan handled it well. He handled it a little sloppily, but he handled it well. But I do think if it was me, I would have told Jeremy, you need to tell Bailey this information by tonight or I'm gonna tell her myself. Like, I think he should have threatened that instead of telling Bailey himself. I think I will admit, I do think he should have given Jeremy somewhat of an opportunity to tell her, but he didn't do that. Now, I'm not gonna name all the people who knew the information. A lot of people felt like Bryan should have not said anything. They should have let Jeremy say it himself. The problem with that is Jeremy did not think it was a big deal, and if Jeremy was responsible for telling her, he would have never told her, and he admitted that earlier in the episode. Jeremy even tells Bailey himself, I didn't think this was as big of a deal as people made it up to be. Next, I'm glad Bryan said something. If all the other contestants had their way and nobody said anything, this would have been so worse for Bailey. Bailey would have left this island with Jeremy, and then 5 months later, or whatever the timeline is, she would have watched this back at the reunion and she would have been hurt 10 times worse. And not only that, half the contestants would have known about it and she would have been left in the dust. To me, that scenario would have been 10 times worse. And yet half the cast is agreeing that he should have kept his mouth shut and they all should have kept their mouth shut, which was so crazy and just shows how horrible these people are. So then towards the end of the episode, you have this like round table of contestants talking, and then like Bryan walks up. Spencer and Andrew are saying that he broke bro code, and Alex and Kat are also at the table as well. I think Lexi is too. And basically they're not disagreeing. So they're clearly in agreement that like he broke bro code and he shouldn't have done that. And then during elimination, they all vote for him as well. And I hate to say this is gonna sound kind of mean, but I feel like Spencer just does not have critical thinking skills. And like Spencer and Andrew agreeing that they broke bro code, like Jeremy did something pretty horrible, and to use bro code in this is like pretty crazy. So I will admit, Bryan should immediately clock Jeremy in the moment when he said this. When Jeremy shared this info in the hotel room with Bryan should have said something in that moment like, bruh, you really shouldn't do that. That will hurt Bailey so much, yada yada yada. He didn't in the moment, but I'm glad later on he fixed it. And if Bryan broke bro code, all of the women at this table are breaking girl code, because I'm pretty sure all of the women at this table knew this information and were not gonna tell Bailey. So by that measurement, all of the women are horrible people and terrible friends too. And long story short, watching this round table was so tough for me, because basically all of the people at this table were saying you can behave as terribly as you want as long as you're loyal, which I just can't get behind that. And that's all I got. That's it for the review. This show is basically turning into Big Brother. Please let me know your thoughts below in the comments. And as always, if you enjoyed this review, please go ahead and pound that like button, pound that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell. And I will see you all next time. Have a good one. Bye. Oh, and sorry, Kim and Faith get sent home. Forgot to include that.